we're gonna get into pretty much, you read the title, what people are saying on the internet as far as the people that have not seen the movie and they're just going based off of what they're seeing on social media and even the news. um, you're missing the point. And the point of all this is that kids are doing the things that are in this movie. They've been doing it for the past 20 plus years. And if you really want to hashtag save your children, you'll start to explain these messages. So this movie, like I said, it shouldn't be getting the backlash it is. To be honest, more people should watch it so they understand exactly what's going on, because it's not as bad as it seems. You should be your kid's role model. Like, you shouldn't rely on these celebrities and these, influencers to tell your kids how to grow up. We should definitely go back to the days of, kids being in a kid's place, but it's just to, yes, you want to preserve innocence when it comes to children because they don't truly understand what certain things mean, like those girls in the movie. Like, they didn't understand how rape works. They said that the penis goes all the way through your body. Like, that's obviously not true. Kuma didn't understand what condoms were and how those worked. Here's what I gotta say about this movie and what everyone's saying, this, that, and the fourth. Shut the f*** up. Yeah, it's just like, y'all are blowing this way out of proportion. I'm not saying that the movie was great, because I personally gave it a D. Because it just, like, the storyline, it wasn't horrible, but it's just like, this could have been done well. And I understand that people are going to be upset because of what's going on right now, but kids have been missing for a while. Pedophilia has been going on for a while. But it's just the fact that everything's hit the fan and everyone's so upset. And, there's just protesting everywhere. Everyone has an opinion about this, that, and the fourth, that y'all want to attack this. But it's like, there's other things that need to be attacked at this point. Like, yeah, you can cancel Netflix if you truly want. Like, go ahead. They care, but I'm sure they don't give a fuck. Like, they still have their money. But, I mean, we do control what we want to see. And if you're upset about this and you want to speak your piece on it, do that. But don't come at it at an ignorant angle like a lot of people are doing, hopping on this bandwagon when you have not done your research, like me. I've watched the movie, I've watched what the director has to say, and I've watched what society has to say. And I'm taking my own, experiences and beliefs, and I'm mixing that all together. That's a perfect conclusion right there. I'm lacking ignorance because I'm taking all these different resources and coming up with one conclusion. No one's really doing that. Even if you think you're putting a parental lock on these things, your kids can still get into that shit. Like, at this point, there's a way. So it's like, you need to educate them instead of trying to keep them ignorant, because yes, once they're introduced to a certain content, hopefully you get to them first before they discover it on their own, because who knows what they're going to do. People don't seem to understand the psyche of a child. They imitate what they see. So if they're seeing this is what women are doing and people are liking her for it, they're going to want to do it too. So it's like, can we really blame this movie? Like, you really have to listen to what she says and why she did this movie, because it all makes sense to me. I just think the timing was really bad on her part and Netflix part, but what's going on and the canceling and the investigating is too much. Okay, so here's what I have to say about the Cuties movie. I have tried to record this video, I don't know how many times at this point. Shoot. You saw at least 3 instances already, but I just wasn't sure exactly how to say what I wanted to say. So I was on Facebook looking at a previous share that someone did about this movie, and I saw someone I went to high school with responded. He took the words out of my mouth. Like, I'm going to read what he said. The movie portrays how teenage and preteen girls act in today's society. It shows us what teen girls think will make them popular and their endeavors to achieve their misguided goals. Most of the scenes people are outraged over isn't even half of the movie. It's mostly a coming-of-age story of a Muslim girl rebelling against her religious family and their values. The point of the dance scenes is to alert you to the fact that teens are actively engaging in the same activities. The movie is supposed to make one think critically about the media in which our children consume because they love to imitate. I'd compare the narrative to 13, which tackles a lot of similar ideas involving teen sexuality. So I personally can relate to this movie because I know myself and some of my friends and peers went through some of these things when we were growing up as young kids. Like, I can remember instances from a very, very young age. I'm talking like 5 years old, and adult things. Kids were doing adult things because they thought it was cool. Those were the kids that were cool. The ones that were cussing, the ones that were touching other kids inappropriately, the ones, that were fighting and things like that. And they were considered the cool kids. It's interesting that this director, she interviewed hundreds of preteens and teenagers asking for their experiences and what they think. Like, you saw what she said. Or you will see what she says. I have 2 clips of the director speaking about why she made the movie.
My name is Maïmouna Doucouré and I'm the director of Cuties.
D'accord.
Cuties is the story of an 11-year-old little girl who is trying to find herself. She's navigating between 2 models of femininity. One represents her mother's traditional origins, and the other one is a group of young girls called Cuties. I had the idea of Cuties when one day, during a neighborhood gathering in Paris, a group of very young dancers came on the stage, and they were dancing like what we are used to seeing in a video clip. And I was surprised because of their age. They were only 11 years old. So I decided to spend the next year and a half doing research. I met with hundreds of preteens who told me their story. I needed to know how they felt about their own femininity in today's society and how they dealt with their self-image at a time when social media is so important. Our girls see that the more a woman is overly sexualized on social media, the more she is successful. And the children just imitate what they see, trying to achieve the same result without understanding the meaning. And yeah, it's dangerous.
And yes, the more you flaunt your sexuality, the more attention you get. That's the way the media has portrayed the topic of sex and sexual acts and intimacy. So I'm just disappointed in the response to this movie overall, because it just shows that you can't properly critique things anymore. Like, it's hard to take people's word for something anymore because it's like you're bad at critiquing things. There are people that haven't seen the movie yet, and they're just going based off of all these news articles and what people are saying about it and how horrible it is, when in retrospect, they're only looking at less than 10 minutes of this hour-plus film. Like, the adult content, things that were like trigger warning worthy, it was less than 10 minutes of the whole video. Or of, not the video, of the whole movie. Like, yes, there was partial nudity. They were dancing provocatively, but they're kids. When me and my friends used to make up dance routines and stuff, back in the early 2000s and late-ish 90s, think of the artists that were hot back then. Here's a few. Think of those artists. Think of their songs. Even in high school, me and a few friends made up choreography and were in talent shows. And because we were in school, we had to keep it appropriate, but we were still doing certain moves that you would consider adult or mature or not for kids. So the whole point of this movie, as you've heard, it's not to enable predators. It's not to, this movie isn't about, it's not about what this hashtag Save Our Kids is about. Stop correlating the two. That's not what this movie is about. This movie is about how millennials are growing up with the influence of the internet and media. It's about how society views hypersexuality. If you've seen the development change in kids over the decades, you'll notice that, it seems like childhood gets shorter and shorter. And I think, technology has a big thing to do with it. Kids don't necessarily go outside and play anymore. I'm not saying kids aren't athletic and they don't go outside, but compared to back then, like even during my childhood, like kids stopped going outside. I'd say in the 5th grade, maybe 6th, about 5th grade, 6th grade is when the neighborhood kids that I used to grow up with and go to school with stopped coming outside and playing. Like they stopped. They started going inside to their house and they'll play video games together or watch movies. They would go out and do, other social things like go to the movies or an arcade, things like that, things kids do. Go to the mall, loiter. But the whole point is being missed about this movie. And I can understand why people are missing the point of the movie because, yes, this is a very sensitive time. Like, this has been a very intense year for anybody. But even in stressful times, you need to try and still keep good sense, Try and think critically about things. This movie, if you really are going to critique it, did a good job depicting what I've described it to depict. She's done her research. She even says she has experiences of things that happened in this movie. We see Yasmin throwing up because they make fun of her weight. We see Ami, the main character, using her sexuality to get something she wants from her uncle, even though that's family. We see them dancing provocatively. We see their outfit changes. We see them wearing makeup. We see that Angelica, Angie, is still depressed, even as popular as she is. As wanted and liked as she is. It's still not enough. She really wants her parents to nurture her and be there for her, but they're not. So she's going out there and finding her own, and she's not doing a good job. You see Kumba's ignorance to condoms just because they're pink. You see Ami stealing. She takes the beads at the beginning of the movie before she even is introduced to the Cuties. So that's childlike. You see that. Someone left it behind, so she wants to pick it up. You see her take the money when she discovers that her underwear is not, cool enough. She needs to wear these frilly underwear and the plain bras with padding in it, Victoria's Secret type stuff. You see her lying to cover it up. And then she's not good at it because she's a child. So, like I said, I just want to say congratulations to those girls because they did a good job. They did a good job acting out what they think their truth is. But I'll tell you what our truth is. This movie should be an eye-opener to a lot of people that it's not the kids, It's not necessarily the kids. It's the adults. You're the ones at fault. We are the ones at fault for this. We're allowing this hypersexual, behavior to be acceptable and wanted and top tier. And it's not. You even have people in the industry, whether it's Hollywood based or even, here on YouTube, certain women and men saying that they should not be role models because of what they're doing. But once you get at a certain status and people are watching you and listening to you, you have no choice. I adore Spider-Man, and Uncle Ben is OG, and we know what his saying is: with great power comes great responsibility. I don't understand why people think that movies and things don't have real life shit attached to it. It's just like, this movie reminds me of the movie 13. The movie 13 is an older movie that's kind of like this one, but 13 was way more graphic. Very, very graphic. And that even gave more examples on things that kids and preteens are doing. Because for me personally, kids were doing wild stuff at pre-kindergarten. And that's pretty young. And you know why? Probably because of what they saw. Kids are like sponges. They soak in what they see and hear, whether it's good or bad. Their perception is not fully developed. You are not fully developed until your early to mid 20s. So rational decisions may not always be your first choice in that age group. But we have to all take accountability for this movie. You're the ones that made this movie happen. It's y'all. If kids didn't grow up like this movie would never existed. So stop blaming men, because that's another thing. It's becoming, a stigma for it to be dangerous for men to be left alone or near children. Just like it's dangerous for certain men to be around children, it's also dangerous for certain women to be around kids. Like, we need to stop doing the double standard when it comes to the health and safety of humanity. You want to hashtag everything up, but not do shit about it. What has this hashtag done except for get notice? Yes, that's great. You want to educate people about this, but what are we going to do about it? It seems like whenever a movement starts, and I'm going to include Black Lives Matter, it has good intentions, but it picks up momentum, and it just seems like the bullshit just comes rolling in. It's just, there's a bunch of digression. You have anti this group, or, a group that disagrees that pop up. And then it just seems like the hashtag goes to business, just like Black Lives Matter. It's nice that I finally was able to be blessed with the message, because I was really struggling to try and do this and force it on my own. His comment popped up and it got my mind, working and thinking. So that's what I have to say. I know there's some news about the people that, yes, made the movie, and there may be some misconduct when it comes to a minor. I don't condone that at all. Like, I want to work with children in the future. I am in college right now for that. And I would never do anything to endanger a child. I have very good sense. I'm empathetic. I'm nurturing. So when I say this movie is needed, and I honestly think that children could watch it and should watch it with parental supervision, someone mature enough with a good moral base that could explain the things that are going on in this movie and what it means. With all that, I think movies like this are necessary, because yes, it'll protect your children from those types of predators, and it'll protect them from making those types of mistakes. Or even if they do, they already knew what the consequence might be, in advance. Knowledge is power. So why not make your children powerful, and don't let these people that say they shouldn't be influencing them influence them, because they are doing this stuff and it's our fault. Take accountability. And it's kind of sad that I had to say it, but there's also something else I want to add to this mix before I log off. The promo for this movie in America is not the same as it was in Europe. America is the one that showed the sexualized poster and promo for this movie versus what Europe did. if you notice the difference between the two, because I do. So it's just like another example of, you brought this upon yourself. I don't condone kids doing that type of stuff. You can think it's funny and cute at first, but yes, it can become a habit. Or even worse, it can become their actual personality. Decisions like that can be ingrained in them. That may be something that they find comfortable and will become natural, and we don't want that to happen. I think that we should start to prolong kids' childhood like we did back in the day. Like, yeah, make your kid wear the barrettes with the little flower clips. Don't let them wear makeup and stuff too early. You know, baby steps everything. Let it go along with their actual biological development. So it just makes sense to me. Like, you just I remember I used to want to be grown so bad. And now I'm grown. It's just like, take me back. Take me back to the ignorant days. Don't get me wrong, knowledge is power, like I said, and I do like to know things so that I can make better decisions for myself and people around me. But to be a kid again, not right now, but to be a kid again, to go back with this knowledge I have now, including that movie, man, yeah, things will be different. Attitudes will be different. Decisions would be different. So that's all I have to say. About this movie and what it means. And it's not what people are saying it means. You need to watch it for yourself. Or at least watch what the director has to say about it. Canceling your Netflix isn't going to do shit. This hashtag isn't going to do shit except for bring awareness. But after awareness, there needs to be action. And after action, there needs to be results. After results, we need to keep track of that. Make sure it's still working. I know there are certain things that are in place to help kids and keep kids safe. You know, there's parental locks for your devices. There are chips and book bags that can help them when a predator approaches them and things. Like, there are things in place, but apparently it's not working. So what are we going to do? You shouldn't put it all on this movie. You shouldn't put all your anger on this movie. This movie is a message. And you don't like that message, so you need to do something about it. And this cancel culture shit is not it.